Chicago's billion-dollar erosion problem is eating the shoreline alive. Not slowly, not subtly, gone in decades. Whole neighborhoods, iconic beaches, the foundation of the city's identity, vanishing into a lake that refuses to stop rising. This is the story Lake Michigan doesn't want you to know. And it's happening right now, beneath some of the most expensive real estate in North America. The water keeps rising, the shoreline keeps retreating, and nobody knows where it stops. Between January 2013 and July 2020, Lake Michigan rose nearly 2 meters. That's almost 6.5 feet of additional water where there was none before. Not a gradual creep over decades. A dramatic, unprecedented surge that drowned coastlines and unleashed destruction that Chicago is still scrambling to afford. In a single storm event in October 2019, a 15-foot bluff crumbled completely in just 12 hours. 12 hours. That's the speed of a catastrophe nobody prepared for. So where is this water coming from? Why now? Why Lake Michigan and not the other Great Lakes? And what does it mean for a city built on the assumption that the shore would always stay exactly where it was? The answer involves climate science, infrastructure built over a century ago, and a billion-dollar price tag that keeps climbing. This is the erosion story nobody saw coming until entire neighborhoods were already threatened. Picture this. You're standing on Chicago's famous lakefront, the place where the city meets the water, where families have built homes and businesses have operated for generations. The shoreline is iconic. It's Edgewater to the north with its tree-lined streets meeting sand. It's Rogers Park with its cozy neighborhoods built a stone's throw from the waves. It's Lincoln Park with its pristine beaches where thousands gather on summer weekends. The South Shore, where blue-collar families have built lives. The Grant Park Coast, where tourists and locals alike contemplate the endless expanse of water. The shoreline feels permanent. It feels like a boundary that has always been there and always will be there. But what if I told you that the literal edge of Chicago, the physical foundation of the city's lakefront identity, is eroding so fast that you can watch it disappear in real time? Not over generations, in years, in seasons. The crisis started quietly. Most people didn't notice when the water began rising in 2013. A few inches one year, a few more the next. The change was so gradual that people rationalized it away. Maybe it was just a wet year. Maybe the lake was experiencing a temporary surge that would reverse itself. By 2019, it was unmissable. Lake levels hit their highest point in 3 decades, climbing to 582 feet above sea level. Only 0.43 feet below the all-time record from 1,986. The lake that powered Chicago's expansion, that made the city possible, that seemed infinite and inexhaustible, was now coming back with a vendetta. Then came the storms. In January 2020, severe weather combined with those record-high water levels to unleash catastrophic damage. $37 million in property damage in a single month. Think about that number for a moment. That's enough to rebuild a neighborhood from scratch. That's enough to fund a city's schools for a year. That's enough to transform multiple communities. But $37 million is just the visible part of the iceberg. It's the repair bills, the sand replacement, the emergency stabilization work. The real damage, the property loss, the neighborhood degradation, the infrastructure collapse, the long-term economic impact, the reduced property values, runs much, much deeper. This was just 1 month, one catastrophic month. The water kept rising for years after. The water was relentless and unforgiving. It didn't stop in February. It kept rising through spring and summer and fall. Every monthly water level measurement broke the previous record. Beaches closed. Entire sections of the shoreline were cordoned off with emergency barriers and warning signs. People who had owned lakefront homes for decades watched as the ground beneath their property literally walked into the water. Not metaphorically. Actual bluffs, Dunes and protective barriers were dissolving